hype job or not? Is Quillen, the inventor of Salkeld, is Quillen, the owner of a bakery, Salkeld, is Quillen, I'm not going to say that last one, but is Quillen Salkeld a hype job? He might be. And honestly, those nicknames, those kind of give away the answer to this question. That and also his record. His record being the one that he currently has in the UFC, which is 5 fights. 6 if you count Dana White's Contender Series. But he only has 6 or 5 fights in the UFC. And those wins, they have been exciting. He has shown a lot of promise. He is a capable finisher. He has knockout power. He has the makings of a star. He has meme potential. He is able to be memed and able to laugh at his memes and roll with the punches, kind of not so much as of late. He's doing a bit of a disservice to him, but that's only making the meme stronger. But it's all right. This just signals to the fact that he is a hype job, which maybe not so all right, because now he's taking on a huge test. Gamrot. And this is the perfect guy to decide whether the hype is real or not, if you're deserving or undeserving. Gamrot, he is consistent. He is always there, always game. Will fight guys on short notice, will fight prospects, will potentially relieve himself of his current rankings to fight someone who could potentially snatch it off of him and propel their own careers. He is that type of guy. He is a valuable asset to the UFC. Now, Quillen, he has his hands full here because this test is not necessarily easy to pass. But, actually, I kind of believe the hype is real, mainly because of a common opponent these two guys shared and how those outcomes went. Of course, I'm talking about Beneil Dariush. First things first, when including this key important detail, Beneil Dariush was on a roll, 8 fight win streak when he fought Gamrot, or 7 fights, and then that was his 8th fight before, of course, his loss to Charles Oliveira, and then it just went downhill from then. Arman Sarukian, not the Moicano, he kind of got it back then. Then there was Benoit Saint Denis, and now Quillen Salkeld. And this guy over here, the one on the right with the graying hairs, especially graying hairs even back then in 2022, 2023, and now in 2026, especially graying. Quillen is the last guy to put him out. Gamrot, he did not have success against Beneil Dariush. Of course, the first round he was able to get him down, but second round and third round, there was a problem that I believe will become even more of a problem, even though we don't have much valuable data, which is why it's reasonable to say that Quillen is a hype job. But I just believe after witnessing this fights, watching it back, Beneil Dariush and Gamrot. Dariush, she's not much bigger than Gamrot. I believe they're about the same height, 5'10". Both are 5'10". I'm not sure. I believe Beneil has a 72-inch reach, whereas Gamrot's 70.5-inch reach. So, well, honestly, that wasn't what made the difference. I mean, it was the reach, but it was more so the stance. When you fight mirrored to a guy, let's say in this fight, Gamrot was orthodox a lot, and Beneil, he was southpaw. When you're mirrored like that, when you force a lead foot and lead hand battle, it kind of adds to your reach and range, especially when you're throwing out body kicks and especially when the guy like Gamrot, he's especially bouncy and jittery. That's kind of like what comes with being a wrestler, and also him having a late introduction into MMA and striking. Being in his 20s, that's when he started picking it up, even though he's pretty good at boxing, but that does make it difficult. And it does make you a bit jittery, and also potentially just maybe that his chin might always be a bit suspect. This is kind of me going on a bit of tangent here, but Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. People like to say that Paddy has a great chin, but I believe it's more so his recoverability. If it was any other guy out there, let's say Ilya Taporia even, and that's not a good example now because, recency bias, but Ilya Taporia, I believe if he knocked down Paddy like that, he would be unafraid of the potential BJJ threat that there is and would be able to put his lights out and not just force a front headlock and fight from that position. This is kind of my point with Gamrot. Oh, yeah, this is my point with Gamrot in the fact that his chin might be bit suspect. He's always a bit jittery, and that comes with him being late to the game when it comes to the striking part. But also, I believe that's just maybe his chin's not the best. I mean, he does get knocked around a bit, and he does seem to slip over himself. Of course, that has to deal with him being overreactive. It's kind of a curse of being a wrestler. You know, you see these wrestlers, and a lot of them, they're especially, it's not that they're on baby legs, but they're very explosive. They're used to overreacting to a lot of things, especially when you're at range like that, when someone could like shoot on you. That's always a possibility. And also just the late introduction into striking, that not being your first set of skills that you learned, it makes you react a bit differently. It makes you look a bit off, kind of. But that's not where. So if that chin's suspect in Quillen, what he has the potential to be, of course, I brought up the fact that Benil fought both these guys. And there's reason for that. Quillen, when he fought Benil, you know, he was getting clinched up against the fence. Obviously, this was Benil of the mindset that he can no longer take it to the chin anymore. So he has to force the wrestling. And he couldn't take down Quillen. Quillen was very defensively responsible. But there was a stupid moment for Quillen where he did turn him around and then tried to grab up his hips or scoop them up. And that didn't work out, of course, because Benil is a smaller guy. Quillen has to get especially low. I just think that would be stupid if he did that against Gamma. But what I do think he has over Gamma is the striking. Absolutely, he has the striking and that range, that reach. And I believe Gamrot's stance of choice would be Southpaw. And in this fight, they're also going to be mirrored again. And it's just going to be a problem if Gamrot fights him as Southpaw. He's just making it difficult for himself, making it impossible for him to get a win. It's not impossible, but it's difficult. And his chin is a bit suspect to me. I do think that Gamrot is a very competent fighter. I do believe he is an extremely difficult challenge, and maybe this is a bit too soon. And obviously, I can't have 100% faith in Quillen because, you know, like I said, another reason, or one of the most huge reasons as to why he is a bit of a hype job, as or could be considered that, is the fact that there is a little information on him. He hasn't fought the cream of the crop. He's barely been tested. His biggest test was Benil Dariush, and that wrestling. Oh no, it was I forgot his name, Azmouche, something Azmouche, this Israeli guy. He was boxing his head off a little bit in those later rounds, but yeah, it's a bit of a different story. A shorter guy. Damn, maybe Gamrot could box his head up. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I just know that we have limited information on him. And Gamrot, he is taking on a challenge that's kind of below his pay grade. Well, not really, because the UFC sees him as this asset that can be disposed of potentially in order to build up these prospects. But at the same time, he could also be the guy who just closes the door, cuts you off from making that churn, making you into a star, or preventing you from being a star. So, this fight tonight, I guess it will be decided whether or not Quillen is a hype job or not. We will find out where he truly fits into the lightweight division. Of course, if he loses, if he gets taken down a whole lot, then Gamrot's able to control his body, get into side control, work his way around, even get a submission. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I wouldn't be surprised if he knocked out Quillen. You know, it's crazy to say this because that's a once in a blue moon thing, especially the knockout. That's really rare from Gamrot, but it could happen. I mean, I don't know exactly if this happened or not. I mean, it looked that way, but in the fight between Benil and Quillen, there was a moment early on where Quillen kind of moved forward a bit, and Benil, he jabbed him, and it seemed to stumble him a bit. But that might have just been a slip. But it's not impossible for Gamrot to finish him. It's not impossible. I mean, the most realistic outcome, if we have to say, if we want to have realism here, what is the most realistic outcome? It's probably a razor thin decision, right? You know, it tends to happen with Gamrot in these pivotal moments. He gets that decision, or there was that fight. That wasn't a 5 rounder fight. I'm thinking of the Armin fight. That was a 5 rounder fight, and it was a close decision. People off of on the internet, they were talking about how the fight should have been given to Armin. but of course it was given to Gamrot. So it could be one of those things where this prospect, this highly touted prospect, is coming up and then it just doesn't work out right for him. But at the same time, Quillen is building momentum and Gamrot's chin is very suspect. Okay, we're gonna lock in our predictions here. What are we going with? I'm gonna say that Gamrot, unfortunately, his time has come. He's getting TKO'd in the fourth round. That's a safe pick. I mean, it's not a safe pick because that's not certain, but it could happen. I mean, we don't have the information to know, and a lot of things can happen. And Gamrot, he can be dangerous. Sometimes he can be dangerous, not always, very rarely, kind of. But at least I'll take his guy down, right? But this is a 5 rounder, and Quillen, this is a huge step up in competition. This is the big leagues, really, even though it's in the Apex. You know what? I would like for Gamrot to win, but I'm gonna pick Quillen on this one. Okay, Quillen, you're gonna win this fight by TKO in the fourth round. Maybe Gamrot will be a little bit cut up. Quillen, he does hit pretty hard though, so we shall see. All right, I guess that's the end of the video. If you liked this video, then you should hit the like button. If you don't like this video, then you should just, I don't know, I actually don't remember if there's still a dislike button or not, but hit the like button if you like it. Comment something down below. Comment what you want to see. Comment an opinion, a thought, a question, anything. Comment that down below if you want to comment. And subscribe if you would like to continue watching some of the stuff I will be posting eventually, sooner than later. If you want to keep up with me in this channel, you should subscribe. And after that, what should you do? You should have a great night or a great day. Enjoy your life, whatever it may be, wherever you're going. Good luck, best of luck, and best of luck to Gamrot and Quillen Salco. Honestly, I'm kind of rooting for Gamrot. I would like to see him somehow turn it in his favor and to not just be, this tool that can be discarded of, that is able to be beaten down and then walked over by man after man. I would like to see him just have it change in his career. Maybe he starts building momentum, finishing you guys. I mean, his last fight, Esteban Ribovic, he did submit him. So potentially that could happen. Of course, that's not what I'm betting on. I'm not betting, actually. I'm not putting money up. I'm just saying, like, what I think would happen, what I predict. Now, of course, you could bet. That's not really a smart decision. You shouldn't bet. It's probably not the best idea, but you could do it. You could bet, but ideally, you probably shouldn't bet because you could lose a lot of money. Maybe if you have the money to spend. Oh, no, really. This is how betting works. If you have the money to lose, then of course you can bet. But if you don't have the money to lose, then you should not bet. All right. Like, subscribe, comment, and have a great rest of your night, day, whatever the time is where you are at. Good night, morning, good. Have a good life.